and welcome you to the official beginning of the April Club Leadership webinar on the topic of the National Bike Challenge. We did it for the first time in 2012. In 2013, we listened to comments from a lot of our club members and tried to make it a lot more club friendly. And the reason we're having the presentation tonight is so that we can tell you all about that, how it works, why it's more club friendly, why it's a lot of fun. We have with us Allison Dewey of the Bicycle Friendly America program and the head of the National Bike Challenge at the League of American Bicyclists. And also with us is Shelley Shipp from the Kaw Valley Bicycle Club. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Kaw Valley Bicycle Club in Iowa, right?
Kansas.
Kansas. Oh, that's the worst mistake I can make, isn't it? Kaw Valley, Kansas Bicycle Club, who put in a tremendous effort last year in the National Bike Challenge. So let me go ahead and turn it over to you, Allison, to tell us about the National Bike Challenge.
Okay, thanks, Scott, and thanks everyone for being part of the webinar tonight. It's an exciting topic to cover, the National Bike Challenge, and it's an exciting year ahead of us. And I'm happy to see that a lot of you didn't participate in it last year and are interested in participating in it this year. Because the more riders we have, the better it is, the steeper the competition there is, and the better our bicycle-friendly America will be. And I want to say a special thanks to Shelley Shipp from Kaw Valley Bike Club. She has for being here. She has a fun name to say, and she's a fun person to talk to. So thanks so much, Shelley, for being here.
You're welcome.
We'll hear more from the Kaw Valley Bicycle Club in just a minute after I do kind of the nuts and bolts of what the National Bike Challenge is. Here's just a glimpse of the agenda of what we're going over in this hour. First off, what is the National Bike Challenge? How it got started and where it is today. Shelley will be talking about benefits to the local bicycle club. As Scott was saying, Shelley and the Kaw Valley Bike Club did an amazing job with the challenge last year. Shelley was at the platinum level of points, which means she did a lot of riding in those 4 months last year. She even won a specialized globe and still uses that to get in miles and record them on the challenge website. And then we'll talk about some ways that the Kaw Valley Bike Club are promoting the club in Topeka. And then we'll look at the website and how to just get started as a bike club, how to register, how to create your team, what the leaderboard and point system means, and then we'll look at some of the tools that we've put on the website to make it as easy as possible for you to be promoting the challenge within your club. And then we'll have time for some question and answers. So the National Bike Challenge is a free 5-month mileage tracking system. It's online, it's very user-friendly, it's powered by Endomondo, which some of you might already be familiar with. They do a lot of tracking systems outside of the National Bike Challenge. And there's some really key data points that we're capturing as participants enter their miles. One, we're capturing how many miles they ride, their CO2 offset, their dollars saved at the pump, and calories burned. And what makes the National Bike Challenge unique is that it also has a local perspective, which can kind of zero in on a state or maybe even smaller than that in a county, and it lets advocacy groups set up their own local challenge so that you can also compete at a more local level. The National Bike Challenge was born out of a simple, friendly competition that was started at Kimberly-Clark Corporation out of Neenah, Wisconsin. And it was started by an employee named Rob Gusky, who a few years back saw the gas prices hiking up and thought he would do something about the cost of how high his cost was to drive to work. and he started tracking how many days he was biking to work and how much he was saving. He got some of his colleagues involved, and it became a bit of a competition. The League of American Bicyclists learned about this competition that within that first 2 years grew to become basically this major Excel sheet. And we learned about it through our bicycle-friendly business program. We teamed up with Kimberly-Clark and thought, wouldn't this be a great idea to take it to a national level, provide this tool that businesses, clubs, advocacy groups, riders everywhere throughout the country could use. So in 2011, Kimberly-Clark, the Bike Federation of Wisconsin, and Endomondo piloted a statewide state challenge in Wisconsin. It was successful, so we took it to the national level in 2012, last year, and last year we had 25,000 riders riding 10 million miles in 4 months. Some of the feedback we got from last year was that it wasn't long enough, so we extended it an additional month, and it runs May 1st through September 30th this year, and our goal is to get 50,000 riders riding a cumulative 20 million miles. And right now we're 26% ahead of where we were last year in terms of ridership. So we are feeling pretty good about meeting that goal. We have nearly 10,000 riders signed up right now, and we've still got lots of time to get people involved. So the point system is one of the key ways to create benchmarks within the challenge. Anyone who rides miles will log their miles. I'll show you how to do that later in the presentation. But you can log miles for riding to work, riding for a club ride, riding to the store, any type of riding you do, you'll earn points for. And you earn the objective of the challenge is to get people riding on a more regular basis. So we do that by awarding 20 points per day that a participant rides 1 mile or more. So just getting on your bike and riding a mile to the grocery store gets you 20 points. And then after that, you earn 1 point per every mile you ride. So if you go out for a century ride, you get 120 points, which is a pretty good level. I'll show you the point system on the website. And as you earn those points, you reach higher categories. We have the bronze, the silver, the gold, platinum, and this year we added the diamond level. And as you progress in the point system, the prizes get more valuable. And those prizes are awarded at random for all the people that have reached those benchmarks. So that's the gist. I think we'll discuss a lot more how the challenge works once Shelley is done talking about how Kaw Valley used the challenge last year. But I'll hand it off to Shelley, and she's going to talk a little bit about Kaw Valley and the National Bike Challenge.
Do you want me to answer any certain questions?
Oh, well, why don't you just go ahead and talk about how Kaw Valley used it last year and just some of the fun stories you had from the National Bike Challenge last year.
Okay. Well, we used the Bike Challenge last year. There were several teams in the Topeka area. They had, I believe Kaw Valley Bike Club had one team, and then we got it full, and then we had another one. And then there were several offshoots of local businesses. They had several in Topeka, and they ranked pretty high. We just got together on a weekly basis with different teams and just rode, whether we rode daily, we rode group rides during the week, we rode weekends, we just rode our bikes. and a lot of people, they commuted to work. I myself, I could not, so I just put the miles in before work and after work. I also, in July, I rode my first century, and then that week, that's when I won my bike, which was super excited. And we, our camaraderie in the town and the Colorado Valley Bike Club, we became closer friends, riding together weekly, daily. It was just a lot of fun competing in this National Bike Challenge.
So what are your plans this year, Shelley, for the National Bike Challenge?
Well, we have 2 teams, I believe, that we have formed. We have a team of 10 retired citizens that are Colorado Valley Bike Club members. They joined the old Fogies team, and then we now have a team which was the 2 Colorado Valley Bike Clubs and some random teams that we had here in Topeka. We joined them together and are going to do a medium-sized team, and they are called the Kansas Crank Addicts. And we are, right now, I think we're at 16 maybe members. Hopefully we will maybe get up to 30, 35 members by the time we're done. So hopefully we'll have a good team riding this year.
Great. And you were telling me before that you thought the National Bike Challenge created a larger network. You met a lot of people through it. Would you say that's true, and how do you think that came about?
Well, we have a program here in Topeka called the Topeka Cycle Project, Topeka Community Cycle Project, and they are a program that gives out refurbished bikes. Those on a fixed income can go in there and get a bike if they need a bike to commute to work. And if it wasn't for the National Bike Challenge last year, I probably would not have known about the Topeka Community Cycle Project due to the fact that this got us all together as a team, and we competed against each other, but we also competed as a town. We would go out on group rides, and a lot of those Colorado Valley Bike Club members and the Topeka Community Cycle Project, we would all get together and have rides. We'd hang out afterwards and just discuss, different things going on in the community as far as bicycling. And the Topeka Cycle Project is a good program here in Topeka that we use in the Colorado Valley Bike Club as well. We use them they will help us at our SAGs when we have group rides. We will also do fundraising benefits for them as well, because it's a not-for-profit organization. So we just got together and we joined a lot of friendships because of the National Bike Challenge.
Great. Do you think your club saw any, did you see any increase in membership because of the challenge or as a result down the road?
Yes. I did speak to the secretary, and she did say that we have had an increased membership, but as far as numbers, I can't tell you how many, but we have gotten a few members from it. And I believe that we will yet again this year get more members.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Anything else you think that people would benefit from hearing the club perspective?
Well, I just feel that, not only do, the community, if you become active in it, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to love it. I was not a member of Colorado Valley Bike Club for a long time when I was cycling, but I loved it. I became active in the community more because of Colorado Valley Bike Club, and your friendships. You join friendships with people that you spend all that time in the saddle with.
Yeah. Right. Well, good. Well, thanks.
Well, you're welcome.
So why don't we take a quick look at the website
While you're getting there, Allison, I do have one question, which I think is kind of a key
Oh,
point
sure.
about how the challenge is more club friendly this year. We have a question of, is there a size limit for teams?
Yeah, and that's one of the big differences from last year because we saw that as a limitation last year for clubs and maybe some other teams out there. And the feedback we got was that people wanted to have as many people riding on their team as they wanted. They didn't want to limit the size. So it is unlimited sizes. That we have. We do have categories for teams. And they go, from 2 to 11, and or 2 to 10, and then 11 to 99, and then up from there. So it is based on points. So you want to try and max out the number of team members you have riding for you. But certainly it is a benefit to have more people on your team riding. Any other questions?
I think that we will come back to the questions that we have after you've looked at the website a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. So let's take a look at the nuts and bolts. And I think this might generate a little bit more understanding on the challenge, how it works, and then maybe some more questions. So if you log on to, you can go to nationalbikechallenge.org. This is powered by Endomondo. So the URL it's going to take you is endomondo.com campaign national, but nationalbikechallenge.org will get you there too, and that's a much easier URL to remember, at least for me. So if you're a new person coming to register to the site, it's going to look exactly like this. These are the stats we have currently. You can see we're almost to the 10,000 mark in riders. We have 841 teams already registered. We're in the warm-up period. The actual challenge has not begun yet, but already we've ridden quite a few miles with all of the riders. And then all of the caloric expenditure, and then the pounds of CO2 that have been saved, and then the dollars saved at the gas pump. So you come to the website, you click join, and let's see, usually doesn't take that long. Okay, I already have an Endomondo account. I don't have an Endomondo account. I have exhausted all of my email addresses, trying different things. So I'm going to log on with another account that I don't have a team with. And it will just, if you don't have an Endomondo account, it's going to ask you questions like your name, your email, and select a password. I'm going to log on. And here it says, oh, it looks like you've already signed up, but you're riding for no team. So I say, okay. And here is the button to join a team or create a team. And here is the log button. So I can log miles. My commute is 16 miles. I'll log that. And then I'm going to go back home, and I'm going to join a team. As you can see, the website defaults to the local page. So I'm in Maryland. Bike Maryland is hosting my local challenge. So you see Bike Maryland right here. I can toggle back to the national page. And here we go. Here are the numbers, the national numbers. Here are the local numbers for Maryland. So I'm going to keep this on the national page, and I'm going to join a team. I can create my own team, and we can call it, let's see, Boom Chicka Boom. We're going to call it the Boom Chicka Booms. I'm going to, let's see, probably don't want to see all my, well, you can pick your own. I'm not going to risk putting some strange picture up there and have it the talk of the clubs for the next few years. Okay, so we'll default to the Pac-Man image. That is the default. And here it is. I can add email addresses separated by commas, so I can add all my friends here. And then I can write a message. Hey, friends, come join my writing team. Boom, chicka boom. And they will be prompted to write the or to join the team that you've invited them to. So now you can see I'm writing for Boom Chicka Boom. League of American Bicyclists is my workplace that I put in with my profile. And here I want to show you the leaderboard. And this is where you see everyone that's riding nationally. Again, if I toggle to the local page, I then see, and go to leaderboard, I see all the riders in Bike Maryland. And I bet Scott is on here somewhere. I hope I have more points than him, but he's on here somewhere.
You do. I've been slack about logging my miles. I'm saving it for when it counts.
Oh, right.
To the last day, right?
Yeah. So we'll go back to the national leaderboard. You can see, so here is where you can see all the different teams. Here people have had time to select their logo. This Tagorama team, they didn't put a logo up, but you get the picture. You can make it specific to your club. And most of the clubs and teams have some sort of picture. So there's our 841 teams. You can also ride as a workplace. Workplaces aren't as good about creating a logo. There's the League of American Bicyclists, and it automatically puts you on the page where your workplace is seated. So you can see there's 3,000 over 3,000 workplaces, and here you can sort. We have a college university category, bike shops and dealers, small businesses, medium businesses, and large businesses. And if you look at the teams, you can sort by small team, medium team, and large team.
So do my points count for both my workplace and my team?
Yes, so everyone riding, if you enter a workplace, you will be riding for your workplace. Your points go towards your workplace. They also go towards your team if you are riding on a team. They also go to you as an independent rider because this is where you get your different levels. Here's the points. Here we have the bronze level, the silver level, the gold, platinum, and diamond level. So here are the points that I've accumulated. I have 2 accounts. So, so I have more than 180 points, but I'm sure Shelly still has
Slacker.
Yeah. Okay, and then you also ride for your state. So you can ride. Your points count for 5 different entities if you choose to have a workplace. There's a lot of people out there that choose not to have a workplace. Which is fine, whether they're retired or they don't want to list their workplace. That's fine too. Then you're just riding for yourself, a team if you decide to join, your community, and your state. And communities are based on counties. and they have a population. So these standings are based on average points per person, as well as states. So there's a lot of ways to compete, a lot of ways to look at how you're doing against other types of groups, people, and all that. So it's really fun to just see where you are in the standings, where friends are, where other teams are, and it's just a nice thing to rally around. Now, here is the prize program we were talking about. Shelley won that cool globe last year, and you can see the prizes for the different levels. We have bikes again in the grand prize level. This is my favorite, a year's supply of toilet tissue from Scott brand. That's what I'm going for. And I'm honest there. I have 3 kids. We spend a lot of money in toilet paper. So I think that's one of the cooler prizes.
I wonder who thought of that.
Yeah. So we have here are the different levels and the different prizes, and the monthly drawings. They happen monthly for each. Now we also have awards. Oops, sorry. Where are my awards? Okay. Here is the awards program. And so we do, riders who are performing at the top of their category, they do win an award. And in all honesty, I think the prizes are a little bit better. The award is a nice, it definitely has some bragging rights with it. But it's more of a plaque thing that you can flaunt a little bit at maybe a club meeting or if you're during a century or something, if you have other clubs that are participating in it. So there's FAQs, official rules, more about the prize program, awards. We have some bike education information on here. And the marketing material, which this has been really helpful for a lot of people. These are some nice tools that are very accessible, very easy to download and use on an e-news if you distribute e-news through a club e-newsletter. You can this is a web button that you can download. We even have some posters or postcards. And we have a postcard that's actually customizable. So you can go ahead and put your club logo or contact information or ride for Team Caw Valley or what is it,
Campus Crank Addicts.
Yeah, what is it, Campus Crank Addicts?
Yeah.
Campus Crank Addicts. And then, of course, we have the beautiful jerseys. That will take you to Mount Bora.
I like them. They changed them since last year, didn't they?
Oh yeah, it has different colors, and yeah. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the new league logo. There it is. How beautiful. And another great thing about the National Bike Challenge is you can download an app on any smartphone, iPhone, Droid. Any type of smartphone, and you can carry that with you on your rides, start it when you start your ride, stop it when you end your ride, and it automatically uploads those miles for you into your account. So you don't have to come back to your desktop to do that. And
okay, now is that going directly from Endomondo though? I'm sorry.
How do you mean?
Or is it a National Bike Challenge app?
Yeah, it's an Endomondo app.
Okay,
but it recognizes that you are registered for the National Bike Challenge.
Yeah.
And so it'll dump your miles into your account.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so I think I covered all there is on the website. Oh, and then I actually want to show you one more thing that I didn't scroll down on your teams, let's see. So here's Crank Up the Fun. I don't know who that is, but since I only have one on my team, Boom Chicka Boom, I'll show you another team. But here you can see the breakup of who's doing what on your team. So if you were on Crank Up the Fun, I'd be all over this Julie Barton woman saying, Julie, you're not pulling your weight. Let's get going, Julie. So you can see who are the heavy hitters and who are holding you back. And then it's also breaks up your cycling, your miles, into cycling for transport, cycling for sport, and mountain biking. So it's only, when we talk about dollars saved, it's only these green miles for transport that is calculated into the savings. Because obviously you're not going to be driving your car out in the mountains for fun. Well, maybe you are, but it's not the same. This dollars saved is only being calculated from the cycling transport. So
I did not know that.
Yep. So I think in terms of our tour of the website, that's about it. We can take questions now, if there are any.
We do have a few. Before we get to those questions, I just wanted to, since I was also a participant in the challenge last year, riding with the league and enjoying it as an individual, just a couple of cool things that I don't believe you mentioned that enhanced my enjoyment last year. There is, you can see on the bottom of the screen, there are comment sections both at the local level and the national level, and there was a real awesome community that grew up around the comment section, and the support and the advice and camaraderie that people were sharing. Just chatting back and forth. You know, there were a lot of regulars who commented on the comment boards and encouraged each other when they needed encouragement, and gave repair advice and so forth like that when that's what they needed. That was really cool. The other thing was, so our goal last year, I believe, was 10 million miles. And Rob Gusky, the guy at Kimberly-Clark, who originated the whole thing, he's an engineer. So we, working with him, we always had these charts where we, knew what the mileage was, and he had charted out. We knew we were going to go over 10 million miles on a Thursday morning in early August, and I knew it was going to be the morning commute that put us over, and it happened to be a week when I was at the beach. So I just got up early and made sure that I started riding before we crossed the 10 million mile mark, and then kept riding until after the morning rush hour on the East Coast would have been loaded, and logged my miles. So I felt like I helped ride us over that 10 million mile mark, and that was kind of a cool thing, riding by myself, but at the same time with thousands of other people who were logging their miles that morning and putting us over the goal. So that was awesome. Okay, so we have the Sussex cyclist in the house. Michelle Williams has a question. She saw her team on the screen and is even more excited about the challenge, but she wants to talk about how to get more of her club members involved. And she wants to know, is there a way to get back to the invitation page and add more email addresses once you started the team?
Yes. Okay, so you go to, let's see, Leaderboard, Teams, okay, and it says, this is where we put some little notes. I'm already on a team, so my join a team or create a team logo does not appear anymore because I'm on Boom Chicka Boom now. But Endomondo is telling me, you have a better chance in the challenge with a larger team. So invite more members. So I have this little hyperlink, invite, and here you can add more people to your team. Again, add a personal message, and they'll get the email, the message. And I also want to make sure to note this, because a lot of times this email, because it's generated from Endomondo, will go into junk mail. So you also might want to send your prospective teammates a note saying that you've invited them. Check your junk mail. It depends. I've seen it go both ways. I've seen it go into your regular old email, and then sometimes it dumps into your junk mail. It just depends what filters you have on your email.
Is there a good way to use Facebook to invite people to join your team? Is there a link you can share, join my team, and put that on the club Facebook?
Yes, there is. And let me find it because we've moved it. And I don't know where we moved it to. We used to have it on the home page. Well, I'll look around for it, and but there is a Facebook link. I'm just not sure where we've hit it.
Okay, we can also follow up by email and let you
Yeah.
know, or let everybody that attended tonight know the answer to that. We'll maybe send out a follow-up email to all of our club contacts as we get closer to the start time. Can anybody send an invite email, or does it have to be the team organizer to get that link?
It does have to be the team organizer to get that link, yes.
Okay. And if you wanted to change your team logo after that's been established, how do you go about changing your team logo?
So you would go to Boom Chicka Boom, and you go to, let's see, sorry. Change settings. Oh, that's me personally.
So how many of these 9,853 riders are you, Allison?
955.
The 9,000 riders, how many are you?
Yeah. No, I just have 2. So I guess technically we have 953 riders, 4 riders. Okay, so if you go to Allison Do Riding for Boom Chicka Boom, now you have to be the initiator of the team to do this, to have this show up, and then you say see profile in Endomundo, and then you can invite here also. You can name a new captain. So Shelly could start a team, but then she gets bogged down with, or they want to share the responsibility. So Shelly does May, and then another club member does June, and they switch off. You can name a new captain here to be writing comments, to help motivate people, and then you can also change your team logo here and browse, upload an image, and then it'll go into here.
Okay, someone else, we have another question. Somebody's got a Garmin device, pretty happy with that. Is there a way to use a Garmin or another mileage tracking app or device to add your miles directly to the challenge?
Yes, there is, and there are on FAQs. We have a question that relates to this, and you can import from Garmin Forerunner series and Edge series if you have either of those, and then you can also read more about what devices are compatible with Endomundo on their Get Satisfaction topics. So that's the link that you'd want to go to.
Okay, someone else is talking about using Bike Journal, which I'm not familiar with, in our clubs all year, riding in southeastern Virginia. Has anybody looked to see if the Bike Journal data could be, I guess, automatically transferred into the challenge system?
I haven't heard of Bike Journal. It doesn't, I think I'm fairly familiar with all the systems that would feed into Endomondo. So I'm going to go with no on that one. However, for 2014, we're looking at having this system capable of accepting data from many different forms. So Bike Journal is one I'll make a note of and see if we can have that for next year.
Is that a computer system?
I'm not sure. Maybe the original poster could tell us a little bit more about that. I assume so.
Yeah, it sounds like it's feeding into the tracking system.
Teresa Filliman of Southwestern Cyclists, I believe. I think that's Teresa's affiliation. She's helped us out on one of these webinars in the past. Wants to know whether you can have team members located in multiple states.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, you definitely can have team members across the U.S. And also I want to add that if you are an employee of a U.S. company, you can be competing outside of the U.S. However, it has to be a U.S.-based company because we have a lot of Kimberly-Clark employees competing from Europe and elsewhere. So that's just one of the requirements. But yes, definitely you can have team members located across the country.
And
you will each be riding for points within that team and your own local communities and your own states.
Bike Journal is another cycling logging site.
Okay. Sounds neat.
Okay, and somebody had a question about if you just explain more the difference between the local and the national challenge.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the things that I think makes the challenge really unique because all politics are local, right? So even all biking is really local. All your biking issues are often are from a local perspective. So this is set up to have those two perspectives, the national and the local. And what has to happen to have a local challenge in your area is that there has to be an advocacy group to claim your area. For me, it's Bike Maryland, which is the statewide advocacy organization. In Washington, D.C., it's WABA, Washington Area Bicycle Association. In Wisconsin, Bike Federation Wisconsin does it. So there's a lot of different, and even in some states, some bigger states, some smaller states, we have two local challenges going on. And it's just a nice way of, the local challenge is a nice way of networking, connecting with local cyclists on a smaller scale. Certainly the national scope has a lot of great networks it also creates, but it's just a different level of looking at the challenge and competing on the challenge. And it's a way of getting those local groups involved and promoting the challenge to their members and their communities.
I have another question. Someone wants to know if it's okay to add their club logo to the National Bike Challenge handouts to promote it to their members and communities.
Yes, definitely. We've actually tailored the marketing material for you to do that. This postcard, this version 2, has this huge space. I don't want to download it and in fear that my computer might eat up too much time. But you can download that and add your logo right on there. It's a writable PDF. So you can insert your logo. You can type text on, we're having a bike bash on June 4th. Come out and, let's talk about challenge. And it's a great way of putting that local face on the National Bike Challenge.
Terrific. We just had another question asking about the history of the challenge and which state last year had the most miles per person.
Oh, so last year was a very interesting year. Vermont and Wisconsin went head-to-head, and Vermont came out on top. Vermont has a very enthusiastic group out there called Local Motion, and they did an amazing job of pushing the challenge in their state. So they came out on top. Wisconsin was a close second.
And I think, as I recall, the state competition is based on total points divided by the population of the state.
Correct, yeah.
Not the number of riders or participants, but the actual population of the state. So it's points per inhabitant, whether they're riding or not.
Right.
Okay, that just answered my question.
Somebody just saying they don't have a smartphone app, just wanted to confirm that they can enter their miles on the website manually.
Definitely. I do not have a smartphone either, and enter my miles manually as well. The one thing the one feature that the app has that you won't get with the manual desktop entry is that you don't get your caloric expenditure. And this is because the app has the GPS system, so it can tell how far you've gone and in the time it took you to do that. So it estimates in a very raw type of equation how many calories you burned during that time. Manually entering, it just asks for the mileage rather than the time it took you to do that.
One thing that I'll say that I liked about manual entry is that you can enter some of your standard rides if there are rides that you usually take. So I have sort of 3 different commuting routes depending on whether I drop my daughter off at school and whether I decide to take a slightly more scenic route. I just put them all 3 in, and it's very quick to say, okay, I took my daughter to school today, so that's 8.1 miles. Or I took the shortest route, and that's 6.9. Or I took the scenic route, and that's 7.7. And they're all stored, and I just pick one from the drop-down, hit enter, and it's there.
Yeah.
So a couple more questions. No, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Just one thing to add, Scott, to that is that on the profile, I don't think I can get back there now because I'm logged on, but when it asks you you can enter those routes as Scott was talking about, like my scenic route. If you don't know how long those routes are, it will connect you. It has an automatic hyperlink to Google Maps, and you can map it, the distance right there. So if you don't have a computer on your bike and you really just don't have an idea of how many miles you're riding in a typical ride to a typical destination, you can map it out right as you're on the National Bike Challenge site.
So someone, Paul White, points out that this puts the entire challenge entirely on the honor system. And have there been any problems of that sort in the past? And what are the rules around that?
Yeah, so it's true. It is on the honor system. And last year we didn't see any real abuse of the system, at least that we're aware of. The other kind of checks and balances that are thrown in is this kind of this networking comment section where and the whole team aspect. So while it's not foolproof, we feel like there are enough riders associated with each rider that there'd probably be some sort of telling going on if someone's logging an abundance of miles that seems impossible.
I think actually there was, I don't remember the details, I think there was a question about a rider last year, and I didn't personally do it, but someone from the challenge got in touch and sort of asked about it and quietly took the rider aside, and I forget whether it was actually confirmed that this is one of the riders who was riding all the time, and we got a great story out of it, or whether it was somebody who was not for sinister purposes, but just, getting a little bit out of hand, and it was taken care of very quietly. Generally, most of the people riding are doing it for the right reasons and don't take advantage.
Right.
A couple more questions about riding with your club on a team. Can you be on more than one team?
No, you can only be on one team. The whole multiple team issue, really the system is just set up for one team, just like you can only be on one workplace, in one community, in one state. So just one of each. You can ride for a lot of different entities, but just one of each.
And if you start off as an individual and then later join a team, do all of your accumulated points then accrue to that team, or is it only from the time that you joined the team?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe the system is set up that it's just moving forward from the point you join the team. But I will check on that and get back to you.
Okay, yeah, we know who asked what question, and we can follow up, or you can always send me an email. You've got my email address, scott@bikeleague.org, from the confirmations, and you'll get a follow-up email as well, so you'll be able to reply to that. If you have questions you didn't get answered, I can pass them along to Allison, and also we can follow up, because we know we have your email address and know the questions that you asked.
Well, I can answer that probably, because I started on a team the first part of the year as the Old Fogies team, and then we just created another team through the Cow Valley Bike Club, which is the Kansas Crank Addicts, and we all moved. Well, there was 2 or 3 of us that moved over from the Fogies team, and we took all of our points with us.
Oh, okay.
From the beginning of the year on to when we moved over. So all those points went with us to our new team, if that was the question.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But I don't know whether they're supposed to be, whether you're supposed to take those points with you, but they did go with us.
No, but also just looking at, when logging in, I was riding for another team. I changed it to Boom Chicka Boom, and my points carried over.
Yeah.
So you're right, Shelley.
Yeah.
And that did jog my memory of something else I should let you know, is that all monthly points need to be added by the last day of the month. You cannot go back and add points to a previous month. So Endomondo actually sends you a reminder to log your miles with maybe two days to go in the month. But we will not be backlogging miles for riders. It's your responsibility to log those miles the month that you ride them.
Okay, I think that's pretty much the questions that we have. If you didn't get your question answered completely or have other questions, of course, please feel free to get in touch with us. Any final thoughts, Allison?
No, this was great. I hope everyone learned something new and became a little bit more excited about the challenge than you were when we started the webinar. Again, I want to thank Shelley for taking the time to talk about Cow Valley and her riding experience with the National Bike Challenge. And she is one to keep your eye on because she won that Specialized Globe last year. So if you
That's right.
if you can keep up with Shelley Shipp this year, consider yourself in good company. But thank you so much, Scott. Thank you so much for your work on this. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me or Scott. And my name is Allison with one L at bikeleague.org, and Scott is Scott at bikeleague.org.
Terrific. And like I said, I'm going to get back going with monthly club leadership webinars. Also contact me if you have any topics you'd like to hear about or that you'd like to present on. I'm always looking for interesting topics and speakers for this series, and I hope to be talking to you next month.